Listen, I am definitely a night owl. I'm like the queen of the night owls. But on my average night owl day, I usually haven't casted 3 best of 3s.
That's very true. My night owliness doesn't start at 3 p.m. and then be maintained all the way till 12:30. It's usually something that kicks off in and around 8 o'clock, 9 p.m. That's when we can get real gamer hours going, moving on forward. But we are going to bring as much heat as our voices will allow as we enter into the second map here in the final of the Copa Elite Six between Team Liquid and MIBR. MIBR with the map advantage at the moment.
Really like these bans so far. So the Ace, unsurprising, that's once again going to be a false target ban. But the Ash means there'll be a bit of pew-pewing that's going to be subdued. And I suspect that's more aimed towards Nesk, who has been doing a lot of work on the entry today.
MIBR taking away Malusi as well. Malusi's crept up there in terms of ban rate. Certainly skyrocketed in terms of pick rate, as the Banshees are very handy gadgets indeed that defenders do like to bring. It's a little bit of a double whammy in that you get a nice slowing effect that slows down attackers, and of course you get the audio effect as well, so you get an audio cue. Really important stuff, and defenders have been quick to get onto them, but there's plenty of stuff that you can bring here as a defender on Coastline that is going to sort of fill those gaps somewhat.
Yeah, it's crazy when you have a Malusi band. You actually have to bring barbed wire, I hear.
It's wild. It's like almost like we played the game for years and years and years with only barbed wire.
Look at that, 2 barbed wires!
You're mad. Get your impacts out. Get your C4s. Where's your deployable shield, man?
This is crazy. Unprecedented scenes! Now, Ollie, at the beginning of the day, we were saying, or the beginning of this game, rather, we were saying, oh, this is the map that MIBR beat Team Liquid on 7-1, and then we realized actually we got it wrong, and that was Oregon. MIBR did win 7-1 on this map, but it was against Black Dragons. So MIBR have still had a 7-1 victory against a team that beat Liquid, which technically means MIBR beat Team Liquid 7-1 on this map.
I'll take it at this hour. I think we can accept that as a logical rationale for what has been explained.
I personally think so.
Makes sense. Something that Team Liquid are doing is taking out the default cams. In fact, Sexy Cake shot that default cam and it had already been shot out by another one of his teammates. Now that is proficient Siege playing.
That's professional. That separates pros from the fakes, because we know that pros don't fake.
It separates the runners-up, Geo, from people that are here in the finals.
Well, you say that, but actually, you know, everyone at home, what we're joking about is MIBR. When playing on Coastline, a couple of play days back from in the BR6, they did indeed forget to shoot out the default cam. So they did make it to the finals despite that mistake, Ollie.
I'm sure that there was another team earlier on, either yesterday or today, that wasn't shooting the cameras either.
I think it was MIBR.
Well, maybe the joke's falling a little bit flat there, but I thought it was one of the teams that we've already said goodbye to inside of the Copa Elite Six here. But hey, maybe no hate, MIBR. I do still love you guys, but yeah, the default cameras are something that do need to be gotten rid of.
Just explaining the most important of strategies here on this cast. That's a really nice kill of Filippo to just swing straight out on PSK, and look, the kills keep coming.
Escape managed to find one before getting C4'd on out. Ooh, Moringa. Where has he been able to find that frag from? Like wallbanged on through? Tough stuff for MIBR to try and deal with. Liquid have been quite timid in their approach so far. They've been able to get themselves in upstairs and kills have started to fly, but that's another C4 that's going to be the undoing of Moringa for a time. Probably is going to get revived though, as Nesk is going to be pretty much directly on his body and able to get him up straight away. The diffuser outside on the balcony, it gives option. Of course, the player that chooses to get the plant down can always just jump off the balcony and hop in through the kitchen window. Palu's still making these holes upstairs inside of theatre. But Moringa and Nesk know that there is a task to be done here. Somebody has to try and plant this diffuser. Now, Nesk, is the Gemini going to bait out the shot? No, not quite. Nesk's going to be allowed to gather as much intel as he possibly could. And he's got 2 grenades now. He's only got a small slat to work with, but Nesk doesn't miss those throws. It was like a 3-pointer from way downtown. He gets it straight on through. Deals some damage onto Fowls. There's an air jab now been placed at the top of the window, at the top of the doorway as well. It's all leading up, though, to a service door push, which, let's be honest, isn't ideal here. Redux going to take down Nesk. Fowls is ready to swing. The diffuser is going to be cold on the ground. Fowls does swing over there onto Palu, and time does the rest.
Really good defense there from MIBR. You know, I was thinking that one of the important VODs I think they will have been watching to prepare against Team Liquid on this map will have been the game that Team Liquid played against Furia, where Furia actually looked to be really fumbling and Team Liquid looked significantly strong in comparison. And a lot of what Team Liquid did right was the way that when they entered in over on things like, you know, the bathroom side, the Hall of Fame side, they stay very together, they drone for each other a lot, and they always have each other's backs in a supportive way very early on in the round so that they can actually make an effective push in through that side of the map. We saw that again this time, except the problem is there were actually some early kills going on. We had that C4, we had the swing out onto PSK, and, you know, with Sexy Cake going down, we saw the lone Hibana pellets that have been abandoned onto the penthouse wall. It basically meant that Team Liquid's push actually through that top floor was very difficult to execute successfully. They then actually had to, you know, try and clear out the utility that had been left at 90. You had the Sledge who was just alone to open up the floor up there. And the thing is, MIBR had all the space they needed to actually position themselves in a way that meant that as the Team Liquid, or remaining Team Liquid players wanted to move down, they were going to be caught out. The bottom of the white stairs were being watched at the end of that round, so they really had to rely on the push through service to work. Now, it was a good effort, you know, they used the Gemini drone, but not being able to see Falls' foot when he was kind of standing behind the filing cabinet thing, whatever it is that's in service, that was a sort of a, I don't want to say a misplay, but it was simply a lack of observation there from Nesk that was probably very, very conducive to his later death. And at that point, Team Liquid had like no time remaining. They basically just had to accept that the round was over.
Nesk getting himself straight in on the Gemini, gathering the intel as he goes. A Gon 6 will be used for the shield. Now able to think about challenging onto the players that are inevitably inside of theatre. There's going to be Philippox on the alibi. Conscious of a vertical hole as well, but Moringa this time going to open things up. Not every day that you see Moringa opening the frags, but he will be there taking down Raps. Sure if Raps was getting a little bit aggro at a window, but the kill will come in nonetheless. It allows Moringa to pressure a little bit further on toward those cool vibe stairs as Nesk does take down Philippox as he gets a little bit impatient. Lukid as well. Curiosity really killing the cat. Reduct and Fowls left as the last 2 alive. And they are both smoke and mute respectively. SMG 11 players. That's not really what you want. It's not the weapon of choice going up against multiple Team Liquid gunners here.
At least Falls was probably going to be feeling a bit more comfortable back on his operator of choice, and he will have the opportunity to deny or at least hold back some of that push. But with a minute remaining, that's quite a lot of time through which you want to space out. Yeah. I was going to say through which you want to space out the smokes. Gets killed straight away. I honestly think that the key way of describing what happened with MIBR that round was something you hit on, and it's all down to impatience. You know, Palu was playing very patiently on the attack, simply holding the angle. That's all he needed to do. Those defending players over in theater didn't need to peak in the way that they did. And this is something that, you know, sometimes I do criticize players for. Remember, if you are on the defense, it is up to the attackers to come to you. You don't need to hand yourself on a platter to them. And I think that's what MIBR did in that round.
That's what it looked like. If you didn't have sort of operator skins on, as it were. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but if you couldn't tell that a Mozzie was a Mozzie and it just rendered out as a player, and you were asked who are the attackers and who are the defenders, you would have bet that MIBR were the attackers in that situation with the way that they were peeking onto things. Like, they were moves that attackers would be making, not moves that defenders holding a power position should be making. And Team Liquid's patience, well, Team Liquid's patience, it rewards them, and it gives them opportunities like that where all they've got to do is just hit the shots. They're already holding the angles. They don't even have to move to try and challenge. MIBR just getting a little bit antsy and a bit impatient. It's all enough to force them to change site as well. We're going to go downstairs to Sunrise and Blue Bar. Obviously feeling like Hooker and Billiards isn't the one for the time being.
Moringa bringing along a Thatcher. You always get a bit excited when you see Thatcher because he gets banned out so much. Reduct is going to be on Clash. Now, we've spoken a bit about Clash specifically being used on this site, especially as, you know, the options for breaching onto the site and how you want to push in. Having a Clash at one end can really help reduce the options for the attacking team, especially if you want defensive utility to be predominantly centered around the other end. Especially as this is one of those sites where defensively, you're very likely to have players off-site. In fact, Clash is going to be playing on Cool Vibe Stairs, it looks like, which I quite like because it's going to make it hard for the attackers to push into Hookah and open up that floor, get the vertical control that they desire. But also it's an easy rotate down towards the site as well, and you can be used for anyone who may push in through Kitchen, through Blue Bar, and through Sunrise. Especially if you position the Clash between the Blue Bar and Sunrise, just outside each of the sites, you can very easily hold on to both at pretty much the same time.
Perhaps just trying to bait somebody in there to peek in onto Office. Again, playing aggressively as the defenders here. But this time at least being able to peel off with their lives still intact. Sexy K just waiting for the drones to work on ahead. Probably going to be quite a plant-focused site for Liquid. As Sexy Cake has already set himself up a drone so that he can watch on into Blue Bar and just give himself a bit of an idea. Now, control of the main stairs area will be required, as with a lot of that wall open into Courtyard, it's going to be quite difficult to get a plant down if there are defenders still playing inside of Courtyard or main stairs. An opener will come, though, onto the Clash. Now, how the Clash has been taken out first, I am not entirely sure, but Moringa was the player to make it happen. Toxic Babe canisters are clipping through the floor, which tells us that plant is maybe being attempted or at least baited out for the time being. Fowls grabs a kill over onto Palu, and everyone just doubts themselves for a second on the side of Liquid. They take a moment to get a better position onto things, and that better position is going to be the Blue Bar window as Nesk takes down Fowls there, just laid prone in the middle of sight. Security is being watched by Raps and Lukid, as they're able to keep a good handle as to what is going on in the site. Now, Sexy Cake, he has found a little pocket of safety here, enough so to get that diffuser down. Nesk is causing distraction inside of Sunrise. He will get himself down. Sexy Cake also now playing directly on the diffuser inside of Blue, and all hopes for Liquid lie in the hands of Moringa. He's actually going to be all the way upstairs, with Raps just baiting out that disable, seeing if he can get away with it as a little bit of a long arm. Moringa hasn't quite got the angle. The peek there from Philippox will be successful. Raps didn't even flinch. He didn't move a muscle, Geo. He stayed solid on disabling that diffuser.
I love that Philippox just pops up at the window and is like, hey! I mean, they really, Raps and Philippox weren't really moved from the position that they held for almost the entirety of that map. We spoke about how they were being quite aggressive with their initial positions in Office and trying to peek out onto the door. But after that, they basically stayed in the security area, which is quite close to Office, and Team Liquid basically ignored that. So when Sexy Cake was actually holding on to that very narrow angle in through Blue Bar, which is the point at which they sent Nesk round to the big window because they knew that he'd be able to get him out and it would be an easier and less risky chance for Nesk to get that kill than for Sexy Cake to get it himself. especially as Sexy Cake wanted to go in and plant the diffuser. You don't really want to be risking your life. You know, Sexy Cake probably wasn't even aware that they were behind him and thought that he was pretty safe in the position that he did plant. And of course, Team Liquid did finish off the plant, but MIBR had control over on the Sunrise side of things, as well as being able to send that player in through, I think it's called Sunroom, the little room that's like got the red thing between office and security. Fun fact. Send it in through Sunroom, in through office, and come and, you know, swing round on Sexy Cake and get that required kill. At that point, you just have Moringa, who's, you know, got to try and deny that from outside. Difficult. The angle was there, but you're going up against two players. Almost undoubtedly going to work against you. So I think the mistake there from Team Liquid was predominantly focused on kind of just letting Raps be where he wanted to be.
Another round will mean one thing, and that is another site. Kitchen is going to be the location MIBR have chosen. They were successful here last time. Mostly came down to Liquid running out of time. Kind of spreading themselves pretty thinly, trying to clear the top floor. And kind of just getting taken out quite early as well. We saw a strange old push come through the service doorway from Liquid in the dying few seconds. I think they just suffered early losses, really, which was the big undoing. This time, however, they've got quite a bit of intel. Wall has been opened in theatre to the top of the white stairs. That's an angle that can now be held by PSK. Nesk is going to try and drone out this VIP area and penthouse and see if you can further pinch the players inevitably inside of theatre.
Again, Team Liquid, as I said back in the first round, they usually come in quite coordinated when they enter in through this top floor. Remember that so much time was spent with them trying to make this attack upstairs work that they were forced to change their efforts and attentions down into service very, very late in the round. It was almost entirely on Nesk to try and make that work. It didn't, and so MIBR took that round. This time, I'd imagine the Team Liquid are looking to move more swiftly, and the fact that they've been able to successfully make the breach without Sexy Cake going down as early as he did last time already leads me to have more positive feelings about the way this could go for Team Liquid. Also, PSK still alive. He was the first kill back in round number 1 because of the aggressive swing from Felipox. Palu narrowly avoiding a C4, and it's going to be Nesk who actually gets that first kill onto False.
All that is enough for Sexy Cake to try and get the plant down. An upside down repel being held by Moringa. Notoriously difficult to try and challenge onto. And we can see that there's actually only one defender on the site for the side of MIBR here. Ness comes in with a massive double kill, taking out those rotating defenders as they desperately try to scramble with these vertical angles being held now. It's going to be very difficult for MIBR to look to retake. Lukid has it all to do. 1 versus 4 situation. Gio, you're not going to be happy.
I know.
With 3 plates of Rook Armor left. I'm going to call it out as I see it in the middle of the action. I mean, it's surely a little bit of why they're losing, because they did lose a lot of the gunfights there, but with the time ticking, we all know it takes 7 seconds to disable the diffuser. And with Lukid arguably kind of saving KD, or at least searching for kills, he is not going to have such time. He's not going to be able to get anything done inside of that round. Kind of a miracle that he was able to make that rotation and get upstairs in the first place as the heavy Rook. Still a good round there for Liquid. Opportunity for a plant fully taken. Something you can never afford to give Sexy Cake.
Should have killed him. Should have taken the Rook armor plates. 3 of those players, I bet it was the first 3 who died.
Go back and check the VOD.
Yeah, check the VOD. Disciplinary action, please. No, I mean, look, Team Liquid were a lot more, fast and effective at the way that they opened up the top of the map, the vertical over the top of kitchen and moved in through penthouse and theater. It gave them a lot more access to space that they wanted, space that they needed, and not losing Sexy Cake, particularly was very important in that, because not only is it you need him there to plant, but you also needed him there to breach, which was something that he couldn't do all the way back in round number 1 either. It evens things out once again. Ollie, I am having some deja vu.
Yeah, deja vu from when, Gio? Or is that the whole point of deja vu? Because pretty much all of these games have been round for round, round for round, back and forth, 5 to 5, 7 to 7. Like,
no one warned me about the Copa Elite Six, dude.
That's why Tim's not here. I swear that's what it is. Tim was like, these guys in the Copa Elite Six, like, good luck sort of thing.
He knew. He absolutely knew. Well, to be honest, I don't think anyone knew how it was going to go. FaZe Clan being out in the quarterfinals, NIP out in the semis, Team Liquid make it all the way to the finals, but having a really hard time because they've lost their map of choice, and MIBR are looking really strong. So the entire narrative of this competition has been very bizarre. And if you have been... I'm assuming that they've been able to do the bets with the Twitch channel points that people do. If you have been doing that and you've been making money or making Twitch channel points off of it, I commend you, because you must be a genius.
I have lost all of my channel points over the course of this last week, because it's been super weak for pretty much all the regions. I never usually go in on the LATAM games and stuff, obviously, because I'm usually casting it, so I'm focused on this. But I like to bet the channel points on other stuff. I've just lost everything. And I think there's a lot of people that are down bad on channel points at the moment. And you know what? That makes me thrilled. It makes me excited. I think we maybe have something from you guys that are watching on Twitch. We do have a poll here taken before round number 1. Not a lot in it there, is the Geo? 53 to 47. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's exactly the same in my book.
You also have to give Team Liquid kind of a buff because they have such a keen fan base. So knowing that, you know, that's in there as well. Basically, MIBR are winning the poll. And a lot of that will be because of their performance on Oregon. And maybe that shot from Redux onto Moringa. Pauly's going to blow himself up.
Oh, you don't see that all the time from Palu. Usually... he's the one to be putting those nades to good work, but in this round, he's going to find himself. So he's going to find one of the most valuable players on the server, but it's a shame that it is almost a bit of a TK there. Sexy Cake trying to challenge now onto this hookah door, and he's in fact going to do so successfully. Takes a hell of a lot of damage, but he will find falls down. PSK now working at the bottom of those cool vibe stairs as well. Sexy Cake has the LMG here. It's kind of an interesting choice for the Capitao. Smokes are going to go on in as he will be able to push on through. PSK going to find a kill over onto Raps. Fowls is still alive in and amongst all of this, so he can call out very important info for his team. Fowls is the one that actually gets killed there, so it isn't the end of the world. Felipox goes massive. Don't forget, Fowls was already down there, so this is as good a situation as MIBR could have hoped for. And with time continuing to tick, Nesk crouch walks his way around Felipox. He just ran out of information at that moment in time, and Nesk able there just to take out the player. Stood bold as brass inside of Billiards.
Well, both teams got a team kill. So there's that. I actually had to mute myself when you said that Palu killed one of the most valuable players in the server because I was laughing too much. Maybe I'm just delirious at this point. But Team Liquid take the lead for the first time in this map. Blue and Sunrise is going to be the next site that is visited on the Tour de Coastline. MIBR won this last time despite the fact that Team Liquid did successfully plant, but a lot of that came from the ignorance on Team Liquid's behalf of the positioning of where those roamers on MIBR were. It meant that they could come in and come back around Sexy Cake after he planted, despite the fact that Sexy Cake didn't actually know that they were there. What Team Liquid may have felt like was pressure purely coming from the Sunrise side of the site from MIBR actually turned out to be multiple angles from either side of the blue bar. So I would like to see Team Liquid be a bit more thorough in their roam clearing. It's not even that they needed to go on a big roam clear, it's that they let them run away and they sort of left them to their own devices and ignored them. But in the same vein, I don't want to see MIBR and those particular players, Lukid, Raps, getting as aggressive as they did early on, because while you didn't die last time and you could come back and your survival meant that you could get the retake, that's not always guaranteed. And I think that MIBR have been a bit unnecessarily aggressive on the early defenses at certain points in this map.
I want to be able to place a prediction on whether that air jab is going to get detonated or not. Because I would be surprised there if PSK gets that air jab detonated. It's going to be placed outside of main door. Nesk, unfortunately for himself, is going to lose one of his drones there to one of Raps' pests. He's doing something to deny the intel here available for the attackers. I'm not sure if Raps is actually going to be able to get into his drone and move it and figure out a place to place that that captured drone, but it's at least one removed away here from Liquid. Ali looks to open up flooring inside of VIP and Penthouse. Vertical angles are going to be required here. It's quite a different take considering that the site is Blue Bar and Sunrise. Liquid are almost treating it very similarly to the way that you would see them treat a kitchen take, where they prioritize getting in through Penthouse and Theatre and VIP, but then choose to turn their attention and push a little bit heavier in onto Hooker and Billiards. Now, that's all well and good. The site, of course, being Sunrise, is directly below Hookah, and Billiards can provide some angles in onto Blue as well. Now the defenders are kind of left wondering a little bit. They're like, what do we do here? We do need to find some sort of safety as this floor is just disappearing above us.
Well, this is actually the same approach that Team Liquid took to attacking this site as they did when they played against Furia. It was something that Furia really struggled to defend against them when Team Liquid made this very thorough clear over from that Penthouse side. Now, the difference here between this and the last time in this map that Team Liquid attacked onto here is last time Lukid was present upstairs actually holding there. Ooh, Nesk takes a bunch of damage there, but he still gets away with his life. He's looking for those players at the bottom of Cool Vibes, but he'll be the one to die. MIBR can look to retake that top floor now and prevent Team Liquid from having the control, but it looked like Sexy Kate was going for the plant, shut down by Falls.
Tough time there for Liquid, losing two really important kills, and everyone's still technically alive on the side of MIBR. Sure, Fowles has got himself down, but look at the time. There's only 6 seconds left remaining. The only player alive is going to be Paolu, left with every angle under the sun, or should I say, under the sunrise to deal with, and he was not able to challenge onto all of them. MIBR have pulled a bit of a Houdini to stay alive for as long as they did there, because the control and the pressure that Liquid were able to apply was significant.
Now we're back to a 3-3.
Who'd have thought it?
At this point, nothing surprises me, Ollie. I'm a jaded woman.
It's just, I've just lived Siege. I'm living it, I'm eating it, I'm breathing it, this is it.
Do you ever have, you know, like a period of time where you're playing a lot of video games, and I mean maybe a bit more than usual, and you start having dreams where you're like in the video game or playing the video game, but they're usually really intense dreams. I always wake up with a really big headache after I've had dreams like that, because it's almost like they're in ultra HD and just they require too much processing power for my brain. I feel like I'm in one of those dreams right now, and I feel like I'm probably going to have one of those dreams tonight.
There's every possibility that would happen. I do find myself having some intense dreams, particularly after prolonged periods of like serious concentration. And obviously, we have seen some intense games today. This one is, I mean, if this was the only intense game that we'd seen, it would be a good day of Siege. But we have seen every map tonight be as intense. There's not really been a great deal in between the two sides. Here again, between MIBR and Liquid, it's looking like we could see all available rounds just the same as we saw in Oregon. And you know what? I'd probably have it no other way. This is for the Copa Elite Six Grand Finals. It is a big deal. And we do need to make sure that we're getting the right team that's going to be, well, lifting the trophy at the end is maybe a little bit of a stretch, as of course the trophy may get sent over in the post if there is one, but I'd say gaining those SI points is, of course, the main focus here for this one.
I'd say the one big thing that I've actually learned from this entire experience so far is that regardless of who gets the most SI points by winning the Copa Elite Six, I want to see all of these teams at SI 2022. All of these games have been so close that you can absolutely say that they all deserve to be there.
Yeah, and we need to see Brazil play in a different region now as well, that we've seen them battle it out within their own region. It really is going to be something to look forward to and cherish when we get to see Brazil show us what they've got on that international level.
So, of course, this is Team Liquid's first defense. It's going to be on Hookah. I like that MIBR straight up have started off by breaching VIP. This is an approach that I said I wanted to see them do. They are getting kills, even not using that breach necessarily, and I guess it turns out they don't need it. A flawless round from MIBR to kick things off in their attack. That was a beautiful take. I was going to go on about how MIBR in the past have been one-dimensional attacking onto this side, and I always wanted to see them approach VIP a bit more. By the time I finished my sentence, everyone was dead.
I took my eyes off the screen to write something down. I looked back up and I see Raps swinging onto sofas, finding a kill, and then literally 2 seconds later the round is over. MIBR not here to play any games on the attack here of Coastline. And it kind of makes sense, right? Coastline, it is that fabled attacker-sided map. This is, of course, potentially the map that MIBR could close this entire series out on as well. Tough stuff.
Yeah, of course, because if MIBR win this map, that's it. It will be the only 2-0 that we have had all weekend. And I was going to add something on there, but I don't remember what it was. So, and that would be insane. And MIBR would be crazy. And one of actually the things that I would like to add on is that MIBR right now are not the MIBR that you will have known from last season. The MIBR that won the BR6 overall at the finals at the end of the year. This is a new MIBR. This is an MIBR that used to be known as Team 1 and was shifted up into MIBR after the old MIBR got poached by FaZe Clan. There's a lot of poaching that's been going on. If MIBR can win the Copa Elite Six, then this roster have proven that they can put accolades to the name of this org just as much as their successors, or the predecessors did for the org as well. They will have already proven in the shortest amount of time possible that they can be not just the best team in Brazil, but the best team in all of Latin America. And I think that's a really cool thing.
It's a big title to take. Well, there's a couple of rounds that are going to stand in between that and the title being dished out. Team Liquid seemingly heard you saying all that, Gio, and said, no, we are going to be the best team inside of the entire Latin America region. They found 2 openers there onto MIBR. Nesk did fall in the flurry. Site being Kitchen here. This is not a site we've seen MIBR attack on just as of yet, as this is only the second round of their attacking phase. Already they're going for quite an aggressive stance with Raps already challenging onto the kitchen door. Fowls have just gone, you know what, I'm heading straight in and headed straight into Moringa's gun. He has the vertical angle there being neglected by MIBR. Moringa seeing a lot of results through it. Sexy Kate coming in on the Frost to pick up the final kill. But you get the impression if he hadn't have done, Moringa would have saved the day from the ceiling.
MIBR running away with the attack. Whomst? Yeah, no. We should have actually kept a tally of the number of times that this has evened out, because every 2 rounds it's been even again. We had MIBR Liquid, MIBR Liquid, Liquid MIBR, and now we've had MIBR Liquid. So if the script is to be continued, whichever one of these teams wins the next round, the other one is going to be the one that follows up all the way into max OT.
We're headed there. 4-4.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Site is going to be Blue Bar and Sunrise.
Located a bomb.
Neither side really giving us an indication here that we're going to see any one of them tear away with it. It's certainly been a quieter game for Palu. Out of the 8 full rounds that we've seen, he's actually only grabbed himself 4 kills, which is a little bit unlike him. And especially thinking about a map like Coastline that you tend to think of as quite a frag-heavy map. You would expect the fraggers to be coming out with a large portion of the kills, but Moringa has been kind of the silent assassin there. He's joint top frag on the side of Liquid at the moment alongside Nesk. PSK sitting there at 5 kills as well. Certainly some sort of evening out to be done on the scoreboard if we're going to reach the normal levels that Team Liquid sort of reach in terms of who has the majority of those kills. Definitely a quieter game for Palu up to this point.
Moringa has always kind of been that player, though, on Liquid, where occasionally he'll just completely pop off and get a ton of kills. For a lot of it, he's always doing really good work on that flex support role that he takes on. But he's not someone who you really act surprised when he starts to pop off. And I reckon, you know, if Moringa were to be put on entry on any team, he could probably do the job. Rap's getting the first kill, so good job he's on entry, I guess, for Team MIBR. Nearly said Team Liquid. Oops. Sexy Cake, the first casualty for Team Liquid. And look, MIBR, they're heading on closer and closer, coming in through a kitchen approach. So there are 2 kind of main ways that you can come into this site. I guess, you know, vertical is very important, and I would definitely recommend it. But you can head in through the kitchen and take control that way. It's usually good to combine the 2, however, but Team Liquid still have control of the upstairs. I like this impact from Palu. It gives him direct line of sight into the lobby, where he knows a lot of those players are going to potentially be because of their presence in kitchen.
Lucan going to be holding the angle inside of security. He's looking through toward office there. PSK finds himself full white flash. Palu grabs the frag over onto Redux, maybe from that impact hole on the back of sofas. PSK getting himself into the engagement now. Lucan not sitting at a lot of health, and he will in fact be taken out there. PSK managing to find himself the headshot. Felipox comes in, but it's almost a little bit too little too late. Raps as well is starting to join on in, but it's a lot of pressure just for poor old PSK. He will be taken down, but the vertical angles are working too well here for Liquid. Nesk finds the frag over onto Raps. Felipox has the diffuser. He also has 45 seconds to try and work with, and for the time being, it looks as though Liquid are none the wiser as to where he is. He could try and keep himself alive here, or maybe even look to get a plant down. Felipox, a player that we know is capable of chaining some of these kills together. He's going to find one over onto Moringa. It's going to give the game away somewhat, but he's going to try and get the diffuser down nonetheless. Players from Liquid are vertical as Nesk. He's going to be challenging on through the hatch. He's in fact going to drop onto the hatch. Palu was on his way in as well, because there was no way Liquid were going to risk taking that as a 1 versus 1. They were really trying to get the pinch off there in the dying few seconds. You can see Palu just coming through that blue bar door there as the final kill fell.
The real issue for MIBR there, in my opinion, is the fact that they didn't really do much to try and take control of the upstairs. You know, I mentioned how you can come in through kitchen, you can take that space, but you really should have it in conjunction with an upstairs control. All the way until the bitter end, Team Liquid still had presence up there. It wasn't really paid much attention to by MIBR at all. And what that meant is you didn't have much of an opportunity to flush out defenders who were on the site. You also didn't have an opportunity to provide any support for Felipox when he went in to make the plant. All in all, you're just kind of isolated when you decide to go in. And of course, Felipox was on his own by the time he went to make that plant. Maybe that wouldn't have been the case if MIBR had put more effort and attention into the upstairs. With Palu also running around on the Vigil, he has so much space to work with and rotate basically as much as he pleases. And that's another thing that MIBR simply didn't shut down as early in the round as they really ought to have. So now Team Liquid are going to be moving back to hookah, which MIBR took successfully in round number 7. And MIBR really need to take this round as well, because if Team Liquid do, then they're going to be on match point. And that kind of changes how things go from that point. If Team Liquid win, then we go to a game number 3, sorry. At this point, MIBR still have the opportunity to win this map in relegation and finish this at a 2-0. They're going to have to overtake Liquid on this round in order to do so.
Still chance, as you say, for MIBR to try and pull something out of the bag here. Rap's taking a very deliberate route across the roof there. Perhaps it's his lucky route when traversing the roof here on Coastline. I say Consulate. That's how bad it's getting. Over on Coastline. There's so much opportunity from the roof here as well, and we've not seen either one of these teams really make full use of that or try to, but so much potential for rotation kills early on into the round. Obviously presuming that both of these teams on the defense at least are going to be playing things very tight and not giving themselves up to such careless angles. Drone work being done there by Raps as he's got a ping to work with. Maybe trying to toss a grenade on through. We're certainly seeing ADS's burnt. Can he thread the grenade? It's gone on in, but it's only taken a little bit of damage off Palu.
A lot of support for Palu in the form of reinforcements for his position here at the top of Cool Vibes. Moringa's playing very aggressively, just waiting for someone to try and peek just anything in through the hookah door. Knows that MIBR like to play aggressively, so he's well within his right to assume that could happen, but instead he's going to be DBNO'd by a grenade from below.
There's the nade that Raps was trying to get on in earlier. I believe Raps is going to pay for it with his life as well, as he is taken down. Palu aggressively swings on to fouls. So Moringa is only down but not out. He's still in a position to be revived here. Felipox holding on to a pixel, a sliver over the window, trying to get a rotation kill, but you get the feeling that Palu is going to show great patience here, and why shouldn't he? A 5 versus 2 advantage here for Liquid. Felipox is going to miss his chance when he gets it. He will be now left in the impossible. Nesk with a C4 to close things out. Team Liquid there, a flawless round number 10.
Also puts them on match point, which is the most important part here, I think, because if Team Liquid now win this next round, then we will be going all the way to Chalet for our final map. MIBR still do have the chance to pull this back into their clutches, go away with the 2-0, but they would have to do it in overtime. And in order to even reach that point, they need to take the next 2 attacking rounds. And looking at their record so far this game, MIBR haven't won 2 attacking rounds in a row, let alone 2 attacking rounds at all. So I don't know how much I have the faith that they're going to be able to do that. And if Team Liquid do take this, then once again, you know, this is going to be the second game of the day in which each team will have taken the other one's map.
It all seems to stick to the script quite nicely. But of course, there is chance that MIBR have been able to conjure up some sort of a counter here to the defenses that they're going to be facing from Liquid. There's still chance for them to be able to pull something out of the bag here and take this as a 2-0 series. Liquid have been pressed for most of the day. None of the games have come too none of the matches, the maps have come too easily to Liquid. Quick flash of the scoreboard there is going to see us with Nesk 11-5. Nearly double positive there on his KDR. Palu has didn't step things up somewhat. He's only got a couple more kills, but he hasn't died a great deal more, which is maybe the more important point. Felipox still leading the charge on the side of MIBR. Big performance needed here in this round. We haven't seen MIBR put under the pressure for a little bit.
Right, kitchen. where this site is. They're using the mirror windows this time, and that's going to mean that MIBR, in order to clear out the penthouse theater area, is going to take a lot more work. Felipox is playing Hibana, so likely those Hibana pellets are going to be used against the mirror window, but it wouldn't surprise me if there is a mute jammer right behind it to prevent them from being detonated. That's a goo mine. And that's Reduct, who is down but not out.
Reduct might be getting picked up here by Raps. It all depends if it's part of a longer ploy from Liquid. Still a vertical angle being held there, I think, from below. If Reduct can get somebody on the trackle, it could provide some information. I think there is somebody being tracked right now. Over inside of Penthouse. Or Theatre, should I say, as track is a couple of seconds behind. It's MIBR going to try and capitalise on this recent information. Do send some pre-fires on in. Pings as well from Felipox. He's like, we need this wall open at all costs. Even going to deploy some X-Kairos pellets onto it. And Liquid are kind of like, do we challenge onto this? Do we not? Nesk and Palu tempted to get themselves up white stairs, but think better of it in the moment. Instead, if the player upstairs, which is Moringa, can start to waste a little bit more time, we could see a result. But no, Fouls will take him down. Moringa, a big thorn in the side last time that MIBR attacked onto this kitchen site.
I think it was a good move for Team Liquid to decide not to invest those extra players to go up the white stairs, because so much time has been utilized at this point that, you know, MIBR are still going to be pushed to successfully make this execute.
They really are, especially with Nesk picking off Raps there. Just another punishing angle being worked on the vertical. Lucid's going to try and peek on through, but Neska's long gone, bro. He's inside of showers now. He's actually got himself out, and he's going to hold there into main lobby. A 4 versus 2, 10 seconds.
Man.
Nesk, he's going huge. He's on for a triple. Sexy Cake finishes things off with a kill onto Felipox, and that is the confirmation we needed. We are going to all 3 maps here inside of this grand finals. We're going to Chalet.
What a long day. We thought that maybe this was going to be the first and only 2-0 of the entire playoffs. But no, that would be naive. That would be wrong to assume that. And as you say, Chalet is the next stop. And we are yet still to find out which team is going to be the